The Congo Free State, a name that, on the surface, sounded like a beacon of freedom, but beneath this title was a nightmare of unimaginable suffering. Today, we uncover the dark and brutal truth of King Leopold II's reign over the Congo, where exploitation and violence led to the deaths of millions. Born in 1835, Leopold II ascended the throne of Belgium in 1865. But Belgium was a small European power, and Leopold, a man of towering ambition, was envious of the vast colonies being claimed by other European nations. He believed Belgium, too, deserved an empire. In his quest for riches, Leopold turned his gaze toward Africa, particularly the unexplored and resource-rich Congo basin. The Congo was filled with rubber, ivory, and minerals, resources that would enrich Leopold beyond measure. But rather than claiming it for Belgium, Leopold cunningly disguised his ambitions, presenting himself to the world as a humanitarian. He established the International African Association, a supposed charity with the mission to bring Christianity, civilization, and end the slave trade. In reality, it was a front for his personal empire. In 1885, through political maneuvering and manipulation, Leopold convinced European powers and the United States to grant him control of the Congo as his personal territory, under the name, the Congo Free State. But this was no state for freedom, it was Leopold's private fiefdom. An area 76 times the size of Belgium was now under the rule of one man, and Leopold saw the Congo as nothing more than a giant cash machine. His goal was simple, to extract as much wealth as possible, no matter the human cost. Leopold's regime forced the indigenous population to work in rubber and ivory collection under brutal conditions. The European-run administration imposed impossible quotas on the native Congolese, and failure to meet these quotas resulted in unimaginable cruelties, historical images of soldiers from the force publique, brutal punishments, Congolese workers carrying heavy loads. Narrator: Leopold's private army, the force publique, was tasked with enforcing his rule, comprised of European officers and African soldiers. This brutal force implemented Leopold's system of terror. Villages were raided, families torn apart, and people were forced to work in deadly conditions. Rubber collection, in particular, became synonymous with suffering and death. The most notorious symbol of Leopold's regime was the cutting off of hands. Soldiers of the force publique were instructed to sever the hands of workers who failed to meet rubber quotas. As proof that ammunition had not been wasted, thousands of men, women, and children were mutilated in this manner. The logic was simple: amputating hands maintained fear and obedience, and showed the soldiers were efficient. This horrific act became routine across the Congo, with victims often left to die or face starvation. As the rubber flowed to Europe, so did Leopold's wealth. But the price for the Congolese people was catastrophic. Entire communities were decimated. The land was pillaged, and the people enslaved. Forced labor, starvation, and disease took the lives of 10 to 15 million people over a span of 2 decades. It was genocide, engineered for profit. But the veil of Leopold's lies would eventually be lifted. Reports of the atrocities began to leak out through missionaries and activists stationed in the Congo. One of the loudest voices was E.D. Morel, a British journalist who exposed the truth behind Leopold's supposed humanitarian mission. He, along with Roger Casement, a British consul who investigated the Congo, published damning reports of mutilations, forced labor, and systematic abuse. Their reports sparked international outrage. In 1904, Casement's report on the Congo Free State shocked the world, revealing the full scale of Leopold's brutal regime. Activists, writers, and public figures called for Leopold's rule to end. Under immense pressure, in 1908, the Belgian government finally took control of the Congo from Leopold, bringing an official end to the Congo Free State. But the damage had been done. Leopold died in 1909, having never set foot in the Congo he so ruthlessly exploited. His death marked the end of an era, but the scars of his rule remained. The Congo, even after becoming a Belgian colony, would continue to suffer from the deep wounds inflicted by decades of exploitation, a legacy that continues to shape the region to this day. In recent years, the dark history of Leopold II has come under renewed scrutiny, with protests demanding the removal of his statues in Belgium. His legacy serves as a grim reminder of the human cost of unchecked power, greed, and colonial ambition. The Congo, now the Democratic Republic of the Congo, still grapples with the consequences of its colonial past. While Belgium must reckon with the horrors committed in its name, the atrocities of the Congo Free State are a chapter in history that we must never forget. It is a stark reminder that behind the pursuit of power and profit, the cost is often paid in human lives. Leopold II's reign of terror stands as a warning to future generations, about the dangers of imperialism and the capacity for human cruelty. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video important, please like, share, and subscribe.